selecting it. I'll then talk about simplification and some of the ideas of simplification. I think that's a kind of important issue really in language teaching. And then how the teacher delivers the content. So selection, I think I have 4 ideas for selection. The first is, of course, it should be interesting to students. And the simplest way I do this is, with Tim's book, I give a unit choice thing, and students write down 3 units they want to study in the book and the reasons, and then the most popular units we study, and the units that students don't vote for, we skip. That's the simplest way of choosing topics interesting for the students. The second is requests from students. I ask students, is there anything you want to study? And of course, often students won't say what they want to study, but actually last year a student came up to me and said, I want to study about religion, so I just made a lesson here on religion. It's an information exchange. It's kind of easy to research. And then it finishes actually from an idea I got from a teacher who was being interviewed at my university, and he was presenting his idea, and so I stole it, and his idea was students design their own religion, which I thought was a really interesting idea. If they were starting from now, how would they design a religion? And it is a kind of a great idea, and of course the students do come up with some wild and wacky things, and you give a guide, what kind of ceremonies, what kind of clothes, and everything like that. And of course intuition is another important part of this. The next selection issue is related to Japan, and I found this very interesting because it really does have sort of pros and cons to this. Of course it's easy to relate to, and for example if we talk about Wangari Maathai, students have heard the name, they've heard of the Motai Nai campaign, some of the students, and this is reinforcing their existing knowledge and reinforcing what they might hear outside the classroom. So that's a great advantage. I've found, actually, we've just finished the module on the Nobel Peace Prize, and we have Nobel Peace Prize winners, and we also have people that the students suggest should win the Nobel Peace Prize. And, for example, Sadako Ogata. And one of the people is this person. A prize to anyone who knows this person?
Yoshida.
Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. And I've actually found over the years that the person who gets Eisaku Sato, who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1974, quite often they end up, it's the most difficult person. Often it's the presentation which isn't the best presentation or the best essay. I've come up with 2 reasons. One, I think there's a possible conflict between what the teacher says and what the students already know from their junior high school and high school education. Quite often I'll say things which the students think, that's not what I was taught. And there can be this kind of conflict. And I find talking about things closely related to Japan can be quite difficult as a foreigner. There's also the preconceived ideas thing, and the students have to prepare 3 reasons why this person is the greatest Nobel Peace Prize winner. And the 3rd reason is the strongest reason. So this year the student gave the strongest, the most important reason this person is the greatest Nobel Peace Prize winner of all time is because he's Japanese, and that was the reason. And of course, that kind of thing isn't actually for us a strong reason, but for the student, it's atarimai. It's obviously a very strong reason. So, relating things closely to Japan does have its drawbacks.